Call the meeting in order of November 15th of the Select Board. Roll call vote. Mr. Tattlebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. Herron?
Yes.
Mr. Gracie?
Yes.
And the chair is here. Please rise as we do a pledge of allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and
to the republic
for
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
Under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as we offer a moment of silence for our military personnel, both here and abroad, both past and present, and also for our healthcare workers. Also, offer this moment of silence for the passing of Fire District 1 Chief Thomas Brooks, Assessor Thomas Brooks, and Citizen Thomas Brooks. Thank you. Please be seated. First item on the agenda, 6:30, we have a hearing for Scuttlebutt Coffee for a new all alcohol restaurant common vic license. I believe Casey, you're for that, right?
Actually, Mike, just using my wife's laptop, but
Okay. All right, Mike. Okay.
Yep.
Can only go by with what we have. All right, just describe what you guys want to do and where you're located and your hours of the business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you all very much for the time. Really appreciate your consideration. So you may recall that we came before the committee back in, I believe, June for our common vic license, which my business partner Jake presented for. Scuttlebutt's located in it's 10A Bridge Street, so right at the corner of Bridge Street and Elm in Padenham. It's actually the former Chumley's location that was there, I think, for about 5 years, if I remember correctly. And so we opened for full business in the very beginning of July, and slowly added days, added hours to the point we're now open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. for brunch and lunch service. And, you know, we've been really appreciative and, benefited greatly from tremendous support from the community and from our customers coming out and really allowing us to get off to a really strong start. So we're super excited about that. We are looking forward to this next stage of the business where we would love to add an alcohol license to our operations, because what we would like to be able to do is extend our hours further into the afternoon, into the evening, add some more days of the week, and expand our beverage program. Basically right now, obviously we're focused primarily on coffee and a very rotating menu of food. But what we'd love to be able to do is add in a more extensive beverage program for both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, beer, wine, mixed drinks, in order to better pair with the food menu that we're putting together, which we will then be also extending into the afternoon and early evening occasional service. The plan for the moment is we'll probably continue, stay with our 8 to 2 hours right at the beginning, and then slowly add hours into the afternoon and the evening as we get our feet underneath us in terms of service and staffing and whatnot. What we are applying for is to actually be able to be open 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for alcohol service 6 days a week. And then I actually make a note that in the permit that was submitted to the town, I have 8 to 10 on Sunday, but that should actually be 10 a.m. because my understanding is that state law says that 10 a.m. is the earliest that a pouring license can be operated on a Sunday.
All right, as this is a hearing, is there anybody in the audience who is in favor of this? We have on the record support from Jordan Hitch of 321 Elm Street, Mary Strasser, George and Natalie Sign, and Conrad Taylor, all 4 individuals in support of this. Being none, anybody in the audience or through chat not in favor of this? Okay, I'm going to close the hearing. Board members, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Harron to approve. On the motion, any questions? Roll call vote. Mr. Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. Harron?
Yes.
Mr. Gracie?
Yes.
And the chair votes in favor. All right, congratulations.
Good luck.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Mike.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna hold off on the Dartmouth Music Director at this point in time because they're currently at the school department, school committee meeting. Next item on the agenda is the appointment to the Cultural Council, Ellen Kavanaugh. Hi, Ellen, how are you? Just unmute yourself. You need to unmute yourself.
There we go.
All right.
Good.
All right, just briefly describe what you're interested in and how you came about and all that.
Okay. I was asked by Jim Sears, he mentioned it to me and what the council was about. And I think he knows that I'm somebody who's always been very much interested in cultural affairs generally in our community, and really very much pleased to see the expansion of both theater and art and music in the area. I'm a social worker who's lived in the area for over 40 years and really feel that art and music are a significant part of my life. And I would be very much interested in being part of a group that tries to figure out the best solution for giving support to the community.
Terrific. Okay.
Essentially who I am.
Okay, it sounds great. Just the mere fact that you want to volunteer, that speaks volumes on itself. Board members have any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Harron. On the motion, any questions? Roll call vote, Mr. Tattelbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. Harron?
Yes.
Mr. Gracie?
Yes.
And the chair votes in favor. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. You all do great work.
thank you. Appreciate that. Next, we have an appointment to the Youth Commission, Krista Machado. Krista? Hi.
Oh.
Hi, same thing. Just kind of tell us who you are and why.
Sure. So my name is Krista. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker. I have been born and raised in Dartmouth. I'm currently raising a family of my own in Dartmouth, and I am a program director for a nonprofit agency, Child and Family Services, and have been working there for over 10 years. That really just works with youth and families to try to connect them to resources in the area. I also have my own private practice in which I focus on perinatal mood disorder and trauma with kids and adults. And I just really want to be part of the Youth Commission so I can help, provide resources and support to the town advocate and give back to the community that raised me.
Great, sounds good. Board members have any questions?
Motion to appoint.
Second.
Thank you, thank you. Motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Harron. On the motion, any questions? All right, roll call vote. Mr. Tattelbaum?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Mr. Harron?
Yes.
Mr. Gracie?
Yes.
And the chair votes in favor. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a resignation from the Council on Aging by Dan Fournier. We received on file. I would like two things. I'd like to have this posted as soon as possible. And also I'd like to have a letter sent out to Mr. Fournier thanking him for his services in the past, and would tell him that the board has appreciated what he has done for the Council on Aging while he served. So is that all right with the board?
100%.
Yep.
Okay. All right, we don't need to take a vote. Let's just get it done. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Stat Ambulance contract negotiation update. We're going to bring that to the next meeting. So that it's not up for discussion today. It'll go to the next meeting. Which goes to F on the new business, the planning director search. We need a select board representative. Mr. Mickelson has contacted me and asked me if he could serve. Now, the question is this, is there any other board member who would be interested in serving this?
I would.
Okay, let me ask you, all right, so I thought this was going to happen, but I want to make sure, I want to do things fairly. Mr. Mickelson, what was the last committee you were on that you were a select board representative for any kind of hiring?
The veterans,
Veteran Service Officer?
Relay.
Okay.
Mhm.
John, when was the last one you did?
I can't even remember,
Okay.
to tell you the
All
truth.
right. This leaves me with a little bit of a conundrum because, John, you're asking tonight. Stanley just called me earlier today to ask. Because Stanley was on one, and both of you have planning board experience, so that brings in itself some very good things. I'm going to appoint John for it for the mere fact that he hasn't served in a while on the committee, and I hope you understand the fairness in that, Mr. Mickelson. And I appreciate you understanding that. So, Mr. Harron, you're going to be appointed for that. In the meantime, Mr. Mickelson, I have something for you. Are you available tomorrow afternoon?
I am.
Okay, I would like you to take my place for the director of media interviews.
Mhm.
Something has come up, and I'm not going to be able to deal with it, deal with the interviews. My time is needed here. And if Mr. Mickelson, if you could handle that for me, Mr. McInnes, if you can send him the material so that he can review it for the meetings. The first interview, I believe, is at 2:00. And then it's, I believe, 2:30, 3:00.
Correct.
Okay, so it's an hour and a half time, Mr. Mickelson.
At town hall, right?
Yes, it's at town hall. Yes, now that's part of the other thing. I couldn't be at town hall either, so I appreciate that, Mr. Mickelson.
Okay.
Okay, all right, next is the planning office operations update, Mr. McGinnis. Oh, yes, Mr. Harron.
I had a question back at the stat ambulance contract. Are
Yes.
there going to be any more meetings with that committee?
Mr. McGinnis?
Well, I've sent we've met with stat. We've come to a tentative agreement based on select board review and approval. The information has been sent to the select board. I'm waiting to hear back from individual members. Due to this type of negotiation, we are unable, does not fall under one of the 11 reasons for executive session. And also a negotiation can't be conducted in public. So in speaking with town council, they've recommended that we meet and forward the information to the select board and ask for individual responses back. We'll put the information together and present that at a future meeting. So there's not a plan to have another future meeting, but if the majority of the select board feels the tentative agreement is unacceptable, then we would have to go back and meet.
Okay, so I'm also part of that. I haven't responded, so you'll have my response to that sometime by midweek. The others who haven't responded, if you could do also, please. Mr. Harron?
I have a lot of questions, and I just wonder who I can ask those questions of.
My suggestion would be to contact Mr. McGinnis. And he'll get you that information.
All right.
Okay.
Can I, if I was to ask people in the public certain questions about ambulance service, I don't want to cross any line here. So how can I get guidance on this?
You can send your questions to me and ask, we can review them. And if we need to garner the information from the public, we can move forward and do that.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Tattelbaum?
question. I guess it was on the agenda for the night and you decided to move it to the next meeting, which I understand. So why are we discussing this at all if it's not on it was taken off the agenda?
No, Mr. Harron had a question and it had nothing to do with the negotiations. It was just procedure, so I allowed it.
Okay.
And now we're moving on. Okay, planning office operations update, Mr. McGinnis.
Yes, I just, with Christine O'Grady's resignation, her last day was last Friday. I just want to give the board an update on the operations of the planning office. We've met with the chair of the planning board to discuss the operations. So they are voting tonight at their next meeting. Christine O'Grady has agreed to provide some consulting services in the interim. So they're discussing a contract where she would provide up to 12 hours a week. This is consistent with the last planning director opening where the previous planner. Christine was involved in a lot here outside of planning as relates to GIS and some other team collaborations. So we just need a little bit of her time for that transition. Also, Melissa Rosanina, who's the planning aide in that office, is up to speed and she's knowledgeable about the operations of the office. So we're confident that she's going to be able to maintain operations there and keep things moving. And she's also helping to implement the view permit application for the planning department. So that's moving forward. Cody Haddad, our director of development, is also providing an assistance. He's taking over the master plan process with Serped, so he'll be spearheading that effort in Christine's absence. Also, Joe Braga, the building commissioner, is providing support as well, so along with myself. So we'll certainly be able to keep the office going and moving forward, not just kind of treading water. So we're going to keep moving forward. And we have a number of applicants already, so we'll start sifting through those and we'll start scheduling some interviews in the near future.
Okay, that's good. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, all right, good. All right, I see that Ian is here, and we'll go right back to the top of the calendar. Fresh from his appearance from the school committee, I'm assuming. Mr. Flint, just unmute yourself, please. All right, great. All right, well, for those of you who don't know who Ian Flint is the music director for the school department. And Ian has taken over for, I would say probably town legends, and Ian has already set himself on that same bar as sorry, my mind's just out there. So he set that same bar with past directors in the championship form that Dartmouth High School band has taken. Recently, the high school band, the marching band, has taken honors again at nationals. Now I'm understanding now, I could be wrong. I thought is this 6 in a row or is it 5 in a row?
This is 5 in a row and the 10th time, 10th out of 13.
So this is an accomplishment that is, I would say, rare among high school bands. Once in a while, you'll get one that wins twice in a row, 3 times in a row, maybe, but 5 times in a row doesn't happen a lot. And this is something that the town and its citizens should be extremely proud of, because not only is it because 5 years, but it's also encompasses 4 full classes of high school students, from freshman to senior, that they have were champions all the way in a row. And to do that with an ever-changing landscape of participants is something remarkable in itself. And we wanted to take the opportunity to recognize the band, the students, the staff, and the parents, because it's the parents who drive the truck. It's the parents who haul the equipment. It's the parents who do the constant fundraising for this. And it's the parents that pay for the lessons that the kids have started way back when. And this is just a giant community effort. And speaking from experience, my mother and my sister were heavily involved with the music program when my nephew was his 4 years, but they went above and beyond beyond that. They were there 10 years beyond. After he graduated, they still participated and did what they have to do. As a matter of fact, the parents were at it again yesterday, supporting the music department by working the concession stand at Foxborough, as they have done for 30 some odd years. It's just a remarkable thing. So we wanted to afford this to recognize the music director and also the kids, the students, I should say, and the musicians, because these musicians also morph into other events as the school year progresses, the jazz band, the percussion, and we're all well aware of the awards and the percussion has brought up, but this is something truly remarkable in itself, and it should be they should be very, very proud. Plus, they get this really big, ginormous trophy that needs a separate trailer to be hauled back into. That's the reason why we built the high school with large ceilings, was to house these large trophies that this band keeps seem on winning all the time. So, but Ian, I just wanted to congratulate you, and I'll let my other members speak. But I think first we want to just kind of give us a very brief time frame of when you start and what these kids go through on a daily basis to get exactly where they are now.
So it's funny you bring that up. Like, actually, I'm here right now. You might hear some drumming in the background because, like, the Interpercussion who competes at World Championships in April, they're actually having auditions tonight. So we ended last weekend. We give the students a week off, and we're right back in. And then in the spring, when we finish in April, we'll do a couple concerts, and then we'll be right back in. So we start marching band season in May. We'll have a couple informational meetings, and then we do some summer rehearsals, and then we do 2 weeks worth of camp in August. Our students rehearse. It's actually very normal for a high school band. Our schedule, I'd say, is about the same as every band we compete against. It's just how we use our time. And we're very, very efficient. So we figured out a very efficient process to make it so that we're ranking at the top every year. So the years we haven't won, we've been second, only by a couple tenths of a point. But we have a very efficient process. And so our students will put 3 days in during the week of rehearsal. 2 of those days are in sectionals, 1 day as the full group, and then the competition on the weekend and football games. So that's pretty much what our season looks like. The thing that they do is when we're at rehearsal, they work really, really hard. So those 3 hours are very focused. We don't waste any time. That's the one thing about our program that's unique. We work hard all the time. So every second that we're there, it's 100%. And that's how we're so successful. Students buy into it. The leadership's amazing. The parents buy into it. And we have one of the best staffs in the country. So we're just lucky. We're able to attract amazing teachers, educators to teach our students too. So we've got about a staff of 25 that teach our students. Some of them are like full-time staff, and some people just come in once or twice a week, depending. But great staff, top-notch educators that want to be in front of our students, and that really helps lead to the success year after year. So it is something special here. I know, just personally, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and I saw the Dartmouth band in 1998. I was a high school student, and I was absolutely in shock. I was like, what I wouldn't have done to be in that band. So the history of Dartmouth goes way back, and it goes back into the 80s. This is 40 years of excellence of this program, and we just try to go 1 year at a time and just build on those students and make it as good as we can make it year after year. So
and that's the thing that I think is somewhat lost a little bit on our community is the reputation of the music department and the music program in this town that is nationwide. There are many, many, many people throughout the country that know of the program of Dartmouth and look at the program at Dartmouth. And part of that program, not only is it because of what's going on, but it's what happens with the kids afterwards. I I remember when my nephew was with the Crusaders, and the work that they put involved, and how many of the kids from Dartmouth were actually in the Crusaders and in other national bands. And that has continued. And the students from Dartmouth have the leg up to join these national bands and these summer long tours with that, and that only gets them great experience. And I think that's also part of it, and plus the fact that there's scholarships that are tied to this, and it just creates a unique and different atmosphere where it's just a remarkable thing that happens. I just think it's just great. There used to be a slogan around, sort of heading towards Rhode Island, and the community used to use that. They used to be Music Town, and Green Bay says it's Title Town. I'm sorry. Music Town is Dartmouth. I don't care what anybody says. That's what it should be, and music in Title Town. That's for sure. So, Mr. Tattlebaum, we'll go down the line.
I would also just simply add, it's nice to see you, Ian. Thanks for what you do. But when you consider the the controversy and the sadness of COVID over the last couple of years, and what it took to rally these kids and the whole school, the whole community to fight it off and end up with where you did, there's so much sadness around the country, and you're able to rise above all that and continue the extraordinary run is really, the kids will look back on that for years and years to know what you've accomplished, and it's incredible. And thank you so much, and the whole program. Thank you.
Yeah. Last year during COVID, we were out there. We practiced all the way through. Even though we couldn't go compete, we were doing what they call virtual competitions. It was basically exhibitions, and with 3 small groups, and we did the whole year, but they didn't get to compete the whole year really. And that has a lot to do with the success this year again, was that we continued on. Even though we couldn't even go inside of a building, we were just doing it, and we were 10 feet apart outside playing our instruments, which is really hard to do.
Yeah.
And they didn't complain once. They came out and it was hot. There's nowhere to go inside. So it really is, it's not just this year's program, but the kids that were here last year too, the seniors that missed out on that experience. And then the community supporting us doing that too. That was a huge, huge part of it. The school committee and the town was like, yep, if we can get the kids outside and get them doing stuff, let's do it. So we kind of led the way with that, and we were one of the few programs in New England that were able to do that. But it was definitely the community supporting us through that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mickelson.
Ian, there are not a lot of words to describe what you do and what you've done, your accomplishments, and the success of the music department now is on your hands, and your leadership is glowing, absolutely glowing, young man. And I'm personally thrilled to have you as the leader of this fine music, as the music director. And I know you have a lot of people to help you. I know it's to put a program like this together, you can't do it by yourself. But it's your leadership that brings all those good people to the top. And God bless you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Herron.
Also, congratulations. And I have one question. With all your accomplishments, will you and the Dartmouth band be invited to any parades in the future?
Yeah, so that's something we've talked about. We've been so successful in the U.S. bands thing the last 10 years, or last 13 years. And that's really, the Nationals started 14 years ago. We didn't go the first year. We went the second year, and, so 10 of 13. So for us, it's like, how do we do the next step? Obviously with COVID this year, we're limited in where we could travel and where we could go. But we're looking at doing more stuff in the future. We'd love to do a major event like a Macy's or something like that, just to get us out on national television again. It was 1996 the last time we did Rose Bowl. So we'd love to get on the national stage again. Those are all invite kind of things. We've been asked to do things like that in the past. It's just when it's the right timing. And I think we're definitely ready to do something like that if the opportunity presented itself.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Gracie?
I would just like to say the one thing that I heard on the thing was actually on Channel 4 on the news when it was announced. And the thing that I thought was amazing, and I'm sure everybody else knows it, but I didn't, that of all the divisions, you scored a 98. And that was the highest score of any division across the board. And I thought that was phenomenal. So congratulations to you and the students. So
98 seems to be a number that's bounded about with this band often. You know, whenever I see something, I generally tend to see 98s. So we know the quality and the competitiveness is there. Ian, if you could relay to your staff, relay to the students, the musicians, that this board and the town is extremely proud of what they have accomplished and what they continue to do. And we just ask them to continue to strive for greatness, because we know it will happen, and it's the norm. There's no pressure, but you know, we all recognize the abilities and the accomplishments, and we thank them for putting this town on the map. We are on a map, but we're on a different kind of map. We're on the mouths of other parents and other groups in the country that know Dartmouth is a musical hotbed, you know, for performing too. So, and it's just another forewarning for the percussion group that watch out, guys. You know, we're coming at you again this year. So, and I'm looking forward to seeing that performance, because I can't imagine what's going to happen this time. So,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, it's an incredible thing on the nationwide thing. Most people think we have 4,000 kids at our high school. We're a private academy, and that we have some special magical sauce that makes our kids do what they do. And then we have to explain we have like 900 plus kids in our high school, and it's a small community in southern Massachusetts.
Yep.
They can't believe it, because the groups that we compete against are generally Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, you know, Orlando, Florida,
Yep.
Chicago. Like, those are the groups we are in the conversation with. You know, Indianapolis, wherever, the major metropolitan cities. The fact that we're like essentially a suburb of Providence / Boston, and we're kind of on the coast and near Cape Cod, people are pretty amazed by that. You know, we're definitely one of the smallest bands too. The groups we tend to compete against are high schools with 3,000 or 4,000 students in them. So it is a huge accomplishment for a small town like ours too. So we take a lot of pride in that.
yes,
And,
very much so.
Yep. So we'll definitely convey that to the staff and students. And, you know, thank you so much for your support again. We just keep moving ahead, and we're looking
Yep.
forward to another great year next year.
We'll have something sent over for you know, for everybody to kind of, you know, take a look at and file away along with the other thick folders of congratulations.
Try to put them all up on the wall. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of room.
Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep 'em coming.
There's no such thing as finalist banners. It's only championship banners.
Yeah,
So,
that's like, yep.
all right, Ian, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Great job,
Congratulations again.
Thanks, everybody.
All righty. All right. With that, the American Rescue Plan Act Project Funding Survey. Mr. McGinnis.
Yeah, so as the board knows, there's the American Rescue Plan Act that's out there, and which entitles the town to a sum of money from the government, which equates to about almost nearly $10 million. The way the ARPA, I'll call it ARPA, so I have to keep saying American Rescue Plan, it works is there's 4 criteria that they've identified where municipalities and cities can use the funds. We've gotten a lot of requests and inquiries from the public about how the town is spending the money. We have an internal team put together, myself, Greg Barnes, Cody, and Donna Fernandez, the town accountant, where we're estimating what we'll have available for funding. And we're working with the other department heads in town, along with our established capital plan, to identify items to be funded using ARPA that we can present to the select board for final approval. What we'd like to do though is garner some information from the public to see what their thoughts are and how the money should be spent in town in broad categories, not in specifics. So what I've included in the packet is a draft of the survey that we're gonna, with the board's approval, we'd like to post on our new engagement portal. As we mentioned earlier, the engagement portal has been pretty successful. We have had a lot of interaction with it. We're trying to build off that. So we're trying to drive more people to the engagement portal and away from our social media so that they can access accurate information and we can communicate better with the public, as we've mentioned. So in the packet is a survey. It's pretty broad, but it also has a link to the ARPA site. So people can go there and read up on the ARPA Act and what the funding is and how it's available, how it's intended to be spent. And also answer some questions about, what they would like in the community and how they foresee the town spending the money. So I think it'll be helpful for the board to consider when they're looking at projects to fund. So with that, just looking for the board's input and feedback on the survey.
Okay. All right, we'll go to Mr. Herron first.
I looked at the survey and I thought the survey didn't really include an option for senior citizens there. If I wanted to voice my opinion to direct some money to the seniors through either council on agent or some other project, it just really wasn't in the wording of that survey. And I was wondering if that could be addressed.
Sure, we can add something to identify funding for senior type projects and get their input.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Herron. Appreciate that. Mr. Tattelbaum?
I think it's a great survey and it ties in well. And I get a lot of requests, as I know we all do, about all this money that's out there. A two-part question. So are we told this $10 million, are we told up front as to how much it will be, and we then have to fill in the blanks as to what we want to spend it on? Is that how it works?
Correct. Along with the criteria that's been set forward in the Act. And, then we decide, yes, due to our population size, that's what the funding's based on, which I said it equates to about 10 million. So then the board would decide how to spend that funding. Like any funding, $10 million seems like a lot of money, but in this day and age, I think we're seeing with existing construction contracts, they're coming in 30% over estimated costs. So the $10 million will not go as far as many people might think it will. So we're trying to be as prudent and cost effective with the funding that we do use, and we'd like to put it towards projects that have a long-term impact of the community. So that's important.
Okay. Does this include, is this funding with through Bristol County? Or
Yes.
So this is the Bristol County. Okay.
It's
good.
a combination. It's some of the funding from Bristol County or through Bristol County, and some we've received directly.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Mr. Tattelbaum again?
Yeah, just a second part of the question. I know we're trying to build interest and participation in the Engage Dartmouth, and this is a really important way to people to do it. And I'm sure you thought about ways to engage people in a way that let people know, I get the word out that not only is it out there, but you can really participate and help us spend the money. In terms of how we reach people, and I know it's hard, even though there is a lot of stuff out there to try to reach. It can be difficult to make it happen. Ideas about different ways to engage people, let them know what's going on.
Well, I mean, the engagement portal is just that. So I think, you heard me mention when we were showing the board the portal at town meeting, there's just so many avenues for information that to try to capture everybody and reach everybody, it's very difficult. So we're trying to drive everybody to one location where they can interact and provide that feedback. So, we use our website to do that. We use our social media, our Facebook to do that. We're really trying to drive people to the engagement portal. They go to the engagement portal, but the engagement portal also links to our website. So for more, detailed information, it links directly to the website. So it's a nice tool, but that the engagement portal allows for that interaction where they can ask questions, where they can take surveys so we can get their feedback. And so it's more, they're getting accurate information and they're not speculating. So that's really important. And it's shown to be successful because we have given people some answers to questions that generally we've seen on social media and Facebook that, everyone else is answering these people's questions that don't necessarily know all the facts or the information.
Would it be worth approaching the print media to give us a little an article about what we're trying to do. To
Yeah,
whatever
we did
extent
that.
might
There
be.
was an article in Dartmouth Weekly about a month ago.
On the, I'm talking about now that you have this here and the new survey to kind of pump it up a little.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Great job. Thank you.
Okay, I know I had posted it on social media and I was looking at the views and it was just about under 4,000 views, so. You should be. Anyone else, Mr. Mickelson?
Yeah, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised, especially through that portal that we have, the Engage portal. I think the numbers will increase. We just need a little support from the local media to get them involved. So the more people that know about it, the more people will get involved with their suggestions. And we strongly encourage anybody and everyone. You never know, somebody will come up with a great idea. We need that input. Makes sense. Gives everybody at least has got their foot in the door and their hands around a project such as large as this. And look, there's so much money out there right now. It seems like every week there's another $1 billion coming our way or $1 million coming our way. But we need to be very frugal about how we do this.
Okay. Anybody have any other, Mr. Gracie?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to add to that my impression when I read this was the same as John's. I was hoping there was be something more targeted towards seniors to help them along with whatever we want to do. There's nothing specific in my mind, but at least as a general category. And it sounds like that's going to be taken care of.
Yes, it will. Cody's on it. I can tell you that right now. Good suggestion. All right, anything else? All right, so we'll look forward to seeing the results of this in the near future. That's for sure.
Yes. So we hope to have it posted tomorrow.
Good, excellent. All right. Send me when it has posted. Send me the link that goes directly to the survey. Send it to my town email. That way I can get it posted on social media.
Great.
Okay. All right. That takes care of new business, old business. Do we have anything under COVID?
Yeah, before we do that though, I don't know if the board wants to vote to have me stamp the warrant.
I was
Okay.
going to mention that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll get that before the minutes. I have that written down, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. COVID.
It says right here, warrant. Warrant. Okay.
COVID, no new updates. We continue to monitor and, what the CDC is recommending for boosters. So we monitor that regularly. The school's been moving along with their testing program. It's been successful. So, I think you've seen in the news, some other communities are having real issues. We've been lucky here not to have any significant issues. So that's great. Bliss Corner. We had an internal meeting with the EPA last week to talk about their project manager came in to talk about their process for cleaning up the 5 properties they've identified that you've heard about. They're putting together a project plan and a health and safety plan that they're helped to present in the future. Their plan is to have a public meeting in the near future. They haven't identified a date yet. As soon as we do, we will certainly publish that and let everybody know. But they have not set dates for any type of starting any type of work. They're really just in the planning process. So I'm not sure what their schedule is beyond that. Lake Nokichoke, there's no new updates.
Question?
Mr.
The
Gentleman?
EPA has their meeting. They will call the meeting. They will be in charge and they will set the agenda and
Correct. Yes.
period. Okay. Thank
It'll
you.
be through Zoom, a Zoom
Yes,
process.
it will be remote. Yes.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, we have the warrant that needs to be signed. I'd like a motion to approve the warrant and to authorize Mr. McGinnis to use the stamp to stamp.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Gracie. I saw the yellow around his box, and then Mr. Mickelson seconded. On the motion, any questions? Okay, Mr. Talabon,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie,
Yes.
and the chair votes in favor. Okay, we have the minutes of November 1st, 2021. Board's pleasure.
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Herron, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Gracie. On the motion, any questions? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie,
Yes.
and the chair votes in favor. All right, couple of announcements. Let's see. We have a letter from the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development that Dartmouth was successful in the Community One Stop for Growth application, which resulted in award through the MassWorks Infrastructure Program. It doesn't say how much. Does anybody know?
110,000.
Yeah.
110. Oh, okay, that's
On the
great.
next page.
Second
Oh, it's on
letter.
the next, it's on the next page. Ah, there it is, 110,000. Okay, I thought that was the second award. I was like, oh, wow, okay. All right, so not for two. All right, terrific. And just to let everybody know, there's a virtual public workshop to be taking place this coming Wednesday at 6:30. It is on Route 6 between it's the Route 6 corridor in Westport and in Dartmouth. So for everybody who has concerns, questions, complaints about the way Route 6 is being handled or being as it currently exists, this is an opportunity time to voice your concerns to state and other officials. I believe Serpent is putting this on, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm just getting out of my thing here, so I'll go back to my camera. Okay. Does anybody have anything else to bring before the board? Mr. Herron?
Will that announcement be on the select board website so people can see it?
The Route 6 one?
Serpent meeting? Yes.
Yes. It will be there. It'll also be on the Engage Dartmouth as an announcement, along with the link to connect.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn with a second.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
by Mr. Gracie, seconded by Mr. Herron. On the motion, any questions? Being none. Roll call vote. Mr. Tattelbaum.
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson.
Yes.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
Yes.
And the chair votes in favor. All right, Mr. McGinnis, if you can just hold off before you